I'm going to go bouncing back and forth across the stage from worst polling to best. So we'll start with Asa Hutchinson. You know, I had all of these candidates at my forum where I feel like we learned more about them with 45 minutes apiece. Other than Burgum and Hutchinson, I kind of regret now not asking Burgum to come. Hutchinson, though, was like the ugly girl at a spin the bottle contest who got a sympathetic kiss. Nobody wanted to go to Asa Hutchinson for anything, but they felt obliged to, so he didn't feel bad wasting his time. I don't understand why Asa Hutchinson is running. I really don't. He didn't have any stellar shining moments. He was just there. I don't know. I don't get it. I really genuinely don't get, other than he must have one hell of an ego. I mean, if you're in that position, you're on that stage, you contribute very little, your polling is rock bottom, you're struggling financially, you must have one heck of a massive ego to be on that stage. And to think that these other candidates can't do what you're doing. I mean, for Pete's sake, you could just endorse Christie and drop out tomorrow and people would forget he was even a candidate. A lot of my friends who know Doug Burgum said he's going to surprise you. He's going to surprise you. And he did. He actually had some good, reasonable answers on a host of things.
Well, first of all, I'm a pro-life governor of a very pro-life state. And this issue is, of course, very important. But I am on the record, and I stand behind that we should not have a federal abortion ban.
He wants states' rights. That's what Doug Burgum wants. He pulled out his pocket constitution. He was the only guy on stage to pull out a pocket constitution. And by the way, can I note that was there a memo? Was there a dress code? All of the men were told Navy suits, red ties, because they all were. Nikki Haley stood out on stage just by not being in a Navy suit with a red tie. Burgum gave good answers. And he was probably on painkillers. And he tore his Achilles tendon in a basketball game that morning. So good for him for being there. Christie had good answers. And he gave the business to Vivek Ramaswamy. And a lot of people that resonated with, we'll get to Vivek here in a minute, but Christie gave him the business. Went after Trump, too, for character and performance beneath the dignity of the office. I don't think that helps him with the Republican primary voter, though. Look, I understand Christie wants to be president. He doesn't just want to beat up Donald Trump. I don't know how he connects in that way. And I like the guy. I mean, the number of people, when he was with me on stage in Atlanta, the number of people who left that conversation and were stunned that they actually agreed with Christie about pretty much everything he said, let alone half of what he said, including education. That was his best moment last night. They asked him the stupid UFO question. He mocked them for asking a UFO question and pivoted to teachers' unions are the bigger threat to this country, the biggest threat, not UFOs. That was good for him. He had a good moment, and of course, my gosh, did he go after Vivek.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. And then accused him of stealing lines from Barack Obama, which, by the way, Vivek objectively plagiarized Barack Obama last night. Just again, the full Christie context here.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here. And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
Boy, none of them really liked him. No, I'm telling you the truth. Listen to this.
Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
Of a skinny kid with a funny name.
Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion.
I mean, he used exactly Barack Obama's line. Now, that was, Christie was wrong. It wasn't at a debate. It was at the Democratic National Convention. Skinny kid with a funny last name. He also stole a line from Ted Cruz in 2016 on education, among other things. But, I mean, Christie was there to level haymakers, and he did so. He didn't go after DeSantis, which surprised people. Tim Scott, I think, had a weak performance. I do. I think Tim Scott, and I like Tim Scott a ton. I think he had a very weak performance. He wasn't aggressive on stage. And this has been, and he played into the concerns that people have about him, that he is too nice, that he's not forceful enough, and he wasn't on stage forceful enough last night. And being a slow-talking Southerner, it worked against him in the format with 1 minute. And he got a good laugh out of the crowd at one point where he was dinged and said he's slow and then dinged again while trying to tell people that he does talk slow. It was funny, but also it kind of like perpetuated this idea that he's just too nice and that he's not assertive enough. He's going to have to work on that. He needs some stronger debate prep. He'll make it to the next debate given his polling and fundraising, but he needs to be more assertive. Mike Pence. Pence spoke more than anyone else. CNN compiled a graphic of last night. Who spoke the longest? Mike Pence, 12 minutes, 26 seconds. Vivek, 11 minutes, 38 seconds. Christie, 11 minutes, 37 seconds. Ron DeSantis, 10 minutes, 1 second. Nikki Haley, 8:20. Tim Scott, 7:57. Doug Burgum, 7:50. Asa Hutchinson, 7:24. Mike Pence inserted himself throughout the debate so much at one point, Brett Barris said, Mr. Vice President, no one's called on you. No one's mentioned you. We got to move on to someone else. Pence wanted to chime in on everything. His assertiveness helps him, but I don't know what it gets him. And this is my frustration. I genuinely like Mike Pence. And I thought Pence had a good debate performance. He was more energetic on that debate stage last night than he was at my conference. He said some of the same things. He's kind of got a cadence and a pattern and says similar things. I put my hand on Ronald Reagan's Bible. I pledge, so help me God, to preserve and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's what I did on January 6th. And we hear that. But my goodness, did he go after Vivek.
Don't have an identity crisis, Vivek. We're not looking for a new national identity. The American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic, hardworking people the world has ever known. We just need government as good as our people.
And he said we don't need on-the-job training. We don't need a guy novice with on-the-job training like Vivek. He clearly did not like Vivek Ramaswamy. Neither did Christie. It was notable. Neither did Nikki Haley. And, so that gets me to Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, I think, probably had a strong enough performance that a lot of people, and in fact, a lot of people are talking about her today. She had a very, very strong performance at that debate. She had some very strong lines, and, like this one.
Brett, I think we're all pro-life, but what I would love is for someone to ask Biden and Kamala Harris, are they for 38 weeks? Are they for 39 weeks? Are they for 40 weeks? Because that's what the media needs to be asking.
She did. She had tremendous lines, and she battled Vivek. That one got intense. She said he would hand Ukraine to Russia and Taiwan to China, and she's not wrong. That actually is Vivek's policy. And he also wants to disengage our military alliance with Israel, which she called him out on. She had a strong performance. I think she resonated with women, particularly on the abortion issue, that she's pro-life, but it can't pass the Senate. You don't have 60 or 70 votes in the Senate, so you can't get past the filibuster. She made good practical sense on that. I think Mike Pence's answer for the pro-life community is a much stronger answer for pro-life support, but I think she did good. I think that Haley probably had the strongest performance on stage. Then there's Vivek. Vivek is going to get a lot of buzz. The CNN focus group, the people CNN got together, they really like Vivek Ramaswamy and they like his performance on that stage a ton. But there are a couple problems with that. Let me go through here first.
Here's what I want to ask you about. Who you thought did the best during this debate? Basically, who do you think won the debate? I'm going to do it in alphabetical order to be fair. Anyone think Doug Burgum did the best? That's 0. Anyone think Christie did the best? He certainly got most of the airtime. A lot of the airtime, not most of the airtime. How about Ron DeSantis? How many of you think Ron DeSantis did the best? That's 2 people. How about Nikki Haley? 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Asa Hutchinson? Mike Pence? 0. Vivek Ramaswamy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tim Scott? Okay, so this panel here thinks Ramaswamy won the debate. Tell me why you think he won. Here's what I want to ask you about.
The Fox News panel had essentially that Ron DeSantis won the debate. Vivek, I think, strategically has hurt himself. Let me just follow this out with you. He said on stage that the greatest president of the 21st century is Donald Trump. No one then asked him, why then are you running for president? It was pretty clear on stage last night that he's not actually running for president. He's running as a proxy or maybe a potential vice presidential pick for Donald Trump. He was there to attack all the other candidates, as bought and paid for and the like. He wasn't really running for president. I mean, you can't say you're authentically running for president when you think the greatest president of our time is Donald Trump and he's running for president. You're essentially admitting you're not running for president. You're running to be the pot stirrer on his behalf. That opens him to his record. Like, for example, he said on stage last night, and a lot of my friends loved it, that climate change is a hoax. Just listen to this. So you get a sense of the problems that he's opened himself up to. This is him last night versus him 5 months ago.
Climate change agenda is a hoax. Climate change is also real. I'm not denying the underlying reality that global surface temperatures are going up, and in part due to human activity. Climate change.
Last night it was climate change is a hoax, and 5 months ago it was climate change is real in part due to man-made activity. He's got these copious contradictions. Last year, he praised Mike Pence and said Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th. Last night, he didn't want to answer the question, and today gave a very muddled answer that he would have tried to find a third way. He's going to have to deal with these contradictions, and the others on the stage aren't going to let him get away with it because they very clearly do not like the guy. Now, here's the fundamental problem for Vivek Ramaswamy. The people who love his performance, including those of you listening right now, the people who loved his performance last night, y'all are already voting for Donald Trump. That's his problem. Y'all are already voting for Donald Trump. So who's he going to pull away from by attacking the other candidates as bought and paid for and engaging in these deep contradictions, including having taken a Soros-funded scholarship, which will come out. I mean, the Trump team has attacked Ron DeSantis, claiming he's bought and paid for by George Soros. It's not true. Vivek Ramaswamy went to law school courtesy of George Soros. That's true. That's actually true. These things are going to come back on him now by these other candidates because he attacked them so aggressively.